told your friend you're not okay? And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Got a buildup of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay? Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay.
Hey guys, I forgot to post in Discord, so I'm going to do that now.
Hi guys.
Not in KJ's bullshit. Oh, general. That's what I'm looking. Why did I write? All right. So welcome everybody. This is Nun on my channel. Oh, Teresa knew. Hey SD. Hey Cool Gamer. Hey BFF Teresa. How you guys going tonight? Oh my god, I sound like Crystal Bell or Cactus Bell. How you guys going? I watch her too much. I'm picking up her slang. Did you guys watch the video by Cactus Bill? I put it on my community tab because I thought it was quite interesting.
For the amount of time she gets called out by 18 million channels, she thinks that somebody would put it all together.
Right? I don't know. I feel like, yeah, she's a hoot, right, SD? I just love it. I always pick up on her slang too. It's funny. How you guys going? And she's constantly, she's all over the place in a way like KJ, but it's funny. She is funny. And plus she uses F-bombs and stuff too. And so does Renell. I think we're like the one, oh no, and EKC does too. So remember somebody was saying to me, I wish you'd stop swearing so much in my comment section. They're like, you swear too much, you know? And again, with the swearing, I don't, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, I apologize. I honestly, I can't help it when it comes to her. I've always kind of had a potty mouth though.
I just
Anyways,
look at swear words as another word. I've never even thought that just because someone takes it as an offense, that means I have to change my vocabulary because you don't like it.
I can't change. I am who I am. I'm gonna use that bomb, so you know, that's who I am. I'm not gonna try and change. One thing I am gonna try and do is stop saying gosh damn, but God damn, because I do say that and I shouldn't say that. I got in shit from who was it? Oh my god, I can't think of her name. Alberta and Stella. And I'm like, I'm sorry. She hates it when I say that. So I really need to stop saying that. I need to stop saying the R word too. I said that a couple times now. I don't mean to. It just friggin', I don't know. When I get on a tangent, just blah, 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 and then I'm like, ah, shit. Sorry, guys. I don't mean to.
But at least
All
you
right.
apologize. Most people won't apologize.
Oh, I do every time. I'm like, I'm sorry. Because it just comes out. My son says that to me all the time, that swear words are just another word. Yeah? Okay. Like, I normally don't swear. The only time I do is when I'm live or I'm making a video. So my son's never around to hear it, which is good. I have dropped F-bomb. I dropped an F-bomb today. Well, it's because we met up with his father. Well, sorry, we didn't meet up with him. We ran into his dad. And his dad's like, "Oh, do you want to ride home?" I was like, "Sure." And he ended up, I said to my son, I said, "How much you want to make a bet?" He's going to pretend to leave instead of actually coming back over here to pick us up. He's like, "Yeah, I bet you." And sure enough, the fucker took right off. I'm like, wow. But he came back and picked us up and took us home. Yeah, he's 21. So yeah, exactly. All
Do you have
right.
to
Now
walk
we're on topic.
everywhere?
Do what? Sorry?
So do you walk everywhere?
I do. But if I do, like if I go grocery shopping like I did today, I have to take caffeine because it's too much.
Oh. Do you know how to drive or no?
Um, uh, I mean, I used to when I wasn't supposed to, but I
Oh.
haven't driven in years, and I've never had a license, and I don't think I ever will. I'm too paranoid. Like I could never drive in Ottawa or Toronto, like any big cities. I just no, I'd never be able to.
I gotcha. It's funny, I still have a valid driver's license, but I couldn't see to drive, so it's really stupid that they renewed mine for another 8 years when they didn't even check to see if I could actually
Yeah,
see. They just said, "Here, call us and then we'll issue another and send it in the mail." That's exactly what they did. I was like, okay. I'm like, that's scary.
yeah, it is. That's like with these 80-year olds, 85, 90-year-old people driving. They scare the shit out of me. I'm telling you, I was walking, and I think I might have told this story before. It was me and my son were just walking on the sidewalk, and we're about to go walking to where you cross the street. You have to press the button to get across or whatever. And as we were walking up to that, this freaking old lady, like old man, just starts fucking driving right into us. Like, here's us right here. So here, we're walking. Like we're walking. Here comes the car, like right for us. So we're like, shit. We jump out of the car. I'm looking, she ran right over somebody's front lawn into the intersection. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I was like, holy. So I yelled, I'm like, you almost killed us. She starts driving away. People are honking at her and she's just like this. I'm like, really? And she happens to be one of my neighbors. So I was waiting for her to come back. Like anytime I was walking around my neighborhood or whatever, and I see her, I was gonna say, like, excuse me, I don't think you should be driving anymore. Do you know that you almost hit me? Like, I wasn't gonna yell at her or anything. I just kind of wanted, I don't think you should be driving. Like, do you live with anybody? Do you have help? Because yeah, I don't think so. Then another old lady almost hit me as I was walking to go pick up my son, and I was on pressed the button, was right on the same crosswalk. So I was right in the middle, and if she ran the red light and almost hit me. She just went like this, and I had to jump out of the way. She missed me by, I'm telling you, like a few centimeters. Scared the shit,
Dang.
honked at her. This guy tried to stop her because she almost killed me. And she ended up driving away with it. I'm like, are you kidding? Really? So I'm on the ground. I've got like scabs, not scabs, but they did scab up my hands and stuff because I went like that and I fell. Oh, I was angry. I was like, really?
Yeah, there should be a little bit more investigation into as you get older if you're allowed to drive or not. Like I wouldn't
I
even
agree.
attempt to drive because my vision, I can't see nothing. I mean, unless it's like
Yeah.
right in front of my face. But I know there's probably somebody. I miss driving. I mean, I used to just go on long drives and crank up the music and just like to clear my thoughts. But
Yeah.
once I went blind and my damaged my eyes, there's just no way I could drive consciously and not think I would hurt somebody or myself.
Yeah, that's because you're responsible. I don't know. I think these older people just don't understand or they think that they can still drive. Like there was another older man. This was quite a few years ago. And I remember he had a black car and he tried to get in it and he actually fell. Like he was way too old to be driving. He was walking like with a cane. I'm like, come on, man. Like seriously, had to have been like 90 years old. And I was watching him. This is when I was with my son's father. I'm like, I think we should call the police, not to get him in trouble, but just so he knows that, okay, I think it's time, they could kind of talk to him and tell him what the laws are or help him, I don't know, do something with his life, like, you know what I mean? Just because he's literally trying to get in there and drive. He can't drive. Oh, it was
That's why
crazy.
I just that's why I thought it was weird that they just mailed it to me. I didn't have to go into the DMV or anything. I had to take no refresher test to see if I remembered everything or no and the eye test, nothing. And I was like, I told my sister, I'm like, It's fine. I mean, I need it because for ID purposes, and I just didn't really want
Yeah.
to have to go and wait to get a state ID because the whole process in itself. But I was like, this is kind of dangerous. They just took my word that I'm fine.
Yeah, that's crazy. Hey, RB. All right, I'm gonna start. So now we're on chapter 2. It says an aura of danger. Live freaky, die freaky. When I started interviews for my premiere piece in April of 1999, much of what you just read was unknown to me. I'd gotten through Helter Skelter, and I knew the murders that had left a mark on Hollywood, but that was about all. In a few years, I'd develop a deep obsession with the case. I'd have the trial transcript at my fingertips and binders full of press clippings in my disposal. But in the beginning, I was flummoxed. I have never heard of that.
Confused,
Flummoxed?
basically.
Oh, thank you. Helter Skelter had captured the story definitively. Its author had ensured that Manson was locked away. How could a magazine feature top that? Leslie, my editor, had given me leeway in finding an angle, but her first suggestion, how did the crimes change Hollywood? Wasn't enough for me, and I suspected it wouldn't be enough for her either. My earliest weeks of interviews pulled me in mildly different directions. At first, I was compelled by the way the murders had sundered friendships in Hollywood, revealing strong opinions about the era's morality or lack thereof. As I cycled through Hollywood cliques, I found that I was reuniting 30-year-old rumors and rivalries. Everyone, over time, assigned the blame for the crimes a little differently. I was dealing in memories that had survived decades of erosion. Even my most reliable sources were shaky on the details. As for the unreliable sources, I kept reminding myself that many of them were washed up Hollywood personalities, often in their dotage. Their memories had warped into accommodate their bruised egos, their ulterior motives, and above all, their sense that they were at the center of any sort story worth telling. A lot of contradictions I heard centered on the house at Cielo Drive and the decadent scene there in the months before the murders. The house still signified a lot in Hollywood for some. The death of Sharon Tate and her friends aroused as much fear as it did grief. After the murders, the media had blamed Hollywood's unreality and hedonism. As the New York Times' Stephen Roberts put it, for having fostered an atmosphere where mass homicides was all but guaranteed. Roberts, then Los Angeles Borough Chief of Times, talked to a lot of Hollywood people in those first weeks. Bugliosi quoted him in Helter Skelter. All the stories had a common thread that someone, somehow, the victims, had brought the murders on themselves. What a dick. Bugliosi quoted him in Helter Skelter. All the stories had a common thread that somehow the victims had brought the murders on themselves. The attitude was summed up in the epigram live freaky, die freaky. Wow. The problem was 30 years later, no one could agree on who had brought the freakiness into the home and why. I don't mean to laugh, but I've never heard that before. The freakiness, really?
Yeah, he uses it quite a bit. It's kind of funny.
I had to
I think it's
wonder
his.
if there was what's right?
I think it's his way of breaking up such a heavy subject. So he has those little quips of kind of relief in there.
I'm glad it actually helps. The problem was 30 years later. No one could agree on who had brought them. I just read that. I had to wonder if there was a conspiracy of silence in Hollywood. It had taken months for the LAPD to crack the case, and that time Manson and the family had almost certainly killed others. If Hollywood hadn't circled the wagons, it seemed there was a good chance the investigation could have ended sooner. So many of the people I spoke to had strong ideas why these murders had happened, and yet none of them had spoken to the police, and many remained unwilling to go on the record with me. The one thing everyone seemed to agree on, everyone outside of the DA's office, that is that Bugliosi's helter-skelter motive didn't add up. It had worn thin with the police and Hollywood insiders, and it was wearing thin with me too. I tried to unpack the idea that Manson chose this yellow house to instill fear in Teddy Melcher, the record producer whose rejection had apparently so enraged Manson that he activated race war. And yet Melcher didn't live there anymore. I've always wondered about that too. That's my cat scratching at my kid's door. She wants in.
She did that last night too.
I was just gonna yell, your sister wants in. One problem was that Melcher, by all accounts, had no idea that this was why the family attacked his former home. They never told him that they wanted him to be afraid. They didn't follow the murders with any kind of communication to him. According to Bugliosi, Melcher never realized the crimes had anything to do with him until months later, when the police got in touch with him. How was this motive supposed to work if Melcher was never apprised of it? That's a damn good question. The grander scheme underlying Helter Skelter, decided to start a massive race war by making it look as if Black Panthers were behind the murders, didn't land either. Although Manson was clearly a racist, while he had a wild philosophy, no one believed even for a second that Black militants were behind these killings, as he'd hoped it would seem. So was the family just too dumb or too drugged to pull it off? Or was there another reason for the murders that had nothing to do with race wars scaring Melcher? It seemed to me that the Manson murders had garnered much of the infamy, the Bugliosi much of his fame from the helter-skelter motive. A hippie race war spawned by an acid-drenched, brainwashing ex-con. It was such a fantastical conceit that murders lived in pop culture. With a more commonplace explanation, a drug burn, say, or Hollywood infighting. They would have faded into history after a few years, and Bugliosi would never have written the most popular true crime book of all time. With an eye on the possible motives, I focused on 3 questions in my first weeks of reporting. First, did the victims at the Tate house have something to do with the killers? Second, had Terry Melcher known who the killers were immediately after the crimes and failed to report them to the authorities? Third, and most sensationally, were the police aware of Manson's role in the crimes much earlier than it seemed? Had they delayed arresting the family to protect the victims, or Melcher his circle from scrutiny? Here, as neatly as I can tell, is what I learned in the early, frantic weeks of my reporting. Just as important is what I didn't learn, which goes a long way toward explaining how a simple 3-month magazine assignment turned into a 20-year obsession. The dancing was different. Julian Wasser, a photographer for Life magazine, was my first interview. Almost right away, I felt the kind of cognitive dissonance that followed me through my reporting. Every time I read the word reporting, I think KJ and I just want to smash it. You know what I mean? So I hate that word now because of her. I
I
realize he
don't
is a
blame
real
you.
reporter, but it's like, ugh. I meet my sources at a fancy restaurant or of their choice. In this case, Le Petit Four, a sunny sidewalk cafe in West Hollywood. And within minutes, as a conversation turned toward violence, the plush seating would feel totally incongruous. Such was the case with Wazzer, who told me over a tuna niçoise salad about one of the saddest days of his life. Days after the murders, as part of an editorial for Life, Wasser had accompanied Roman Polanski on his first return visit to the house in Cielo Drive. One of Wasser's pictures from that day is a study in grief. Polanski, in a white t-shirt, sits slumped and devastated on the front porch of his home, his eyes carefully averted from the faded word pig written in his wife's blood on the front door. I could be wrong, but I always felt like that was staged. Was it?
Uh, you'll get to find out in a minute, or well, maybe not in a minute, but in a little while.
Okay. It was too soon, Wasser told me. He'd shot at Polanski as he moved through the blood-stained rooms. It wasn't home anymore. It was evidence. There was fingerprint dusting powder all over the bedroom and the phones. There was blood in the carpet. It was thick like jello. There was so much of it that it hadn't even dried yet, Wasser said. You could still smell it. Salty and carnal. The odor reminded him of a slaughterhouse. Right away, Wasser regretted the assignment, but Polanski wanted him there, even at his most vulnerable moment. It wasn't an exercise in vanity, at least, not entirely. Hoping to help solve the murders, Polanski had invited along a psychic, Peter Hurkos, whose alleged clairvoyance had made him a minor celebrity. Wasser was enlisted to provide duplicates of his photos to Hurkos, who could glean psychic vibrations from them. Polanski led them to the nursery, which Tate had carefully furnished, decorated in anticipation of the baby. Roman went over to the bassinet and just started crying. I said, "This is such a private moment. I shouldn't be here." And he said, "Please don't take any more pictures right now." It was just the saddest thing I've ever seen in my whole entire career. I've never seen anything in my mind so intrusive, even though he had invited me. The enormity of it, Wasser said, growing into the pregnant woman's bedroom and seeing her intimate area covered with fingerprint powder and realizing what happened here. Hurkos, it turned out, didn't share Wasser's sense of solemnity. A week before the life story ran Pirated reproductions of Wasser's photos appeared on the front page of the tabloid in the Hollywood Citizen News. The psychic had sold his copies, vibrations and all. Wasser described the great fear that descended the Los Angeles after the murders. I lived in Beverly Hills. If you went to someone's house, they wouldn't let you in. The normal selfishness and paranoia was magnified by a humanfold. It was another reason for not answering your door. I heard a lot of that in my first interviews. Sales of burglar alarms and system security had apparently soared after the murders, and people were quick to ditch their drug stashes. There's a famous anonymous line from Life from the very article featuring Wasser's pictures. Actually, toilets are flushing all over Beverly Hills. The entire Los Angeles sewer system is stoned. Hey, Two Skulls. Good to see you. Others took more drastic precautions. At the funeral of his friend Sebring, Steve McQueen carried a pistol in his belt. His publicist, Warren Cowan, told me. The actor was in the throes of an anxiety that pervaded Hollywood, where everyone suspected the killer might be among them. Dominic Dunn, the Vanity Fair journalist known for his reporting on the entertainment industry, told me Hollywood did change. The dancing was different, the drugs were different, the fucking was different. He and his wife were so frightened that they sent their kids to stay with their grandmother in Southern California. Tina Sinatra, Frank's daughter, said that her father had hired a security guard. He was there from sundown to sunrise for months, she explained. Mom fed him to death, I think. He was uniformed with a gun, and he sat in the kitchen all night. I can remember the whole tone of the city afterward. It defined fear. In 1999, apparently that fear was still alive and well, at least among Hollywood's A-list, many of whom declined to speak to me, even though 30 years had passed. I was rebuffed by the intimates of Tate, Polanski, and Sebring, sometimes with the vehemence, sometimes with tensely worded emails or phone calls. No interest. Doesn't want to be involved. Or just the one word, no. Warren Beatty and Jane Fonda said no. Jack Nicholson and Dennis Hopper, both repeatedly close to Tate and Polanski, no, no. Candace Bergen, Terry Melcher's girlfriend at the time of the murder, said no too, as did David Geffen, Mia Farrow, and Angelica Houston, among others. I wonder why. Maybe it's like
You'll find
tabloids
out.
bring up. As the rejections piled up, I had my own bout of paranoia. Had some memo gone out? My request had asked simply if they'd like to discuss the after effects of the murders on their community. It didn't feel like I was prying. And Premiere, since it was dedicated entirely to movie business, usually garnered some enthusiasm from this crowd. Bruce Stern, no. Kirk Douglas, no. Paul Newman, no. Elliot Gould, Anne Margaret, Hugh Hefner, no, no, no. All told me more than 3 dozen people turned me down. Some were household names, but plenty of the decidedly non-famous reasons found reasons to decline too. It was looking like I'd have a story about Hollywood and no one from Hollywood in it.
That's why I
Hoping for
told you
something
yesterday
more.
there's a lot of names.
I know most of them actually. Bruce Dern, no. Or Elliot Gould. Hugh Hefner, duh. Kirk Douglas. Some were household names, but plenty of the decidedly non-famous found reasons to decline too. It was looking like I'd have a story about Hollywood and no one from Hollywood was in it. Hoping for something more revelatory, I went to less well-known names. Peter Bart, the longtime editor-in-chief of Verity, had been close to Polanski, and what he told me gave me some semblance of a lead. I must confess that that crowd was a little scary, Bart said, referring to Polanski and Tate's circle. There was an aura of danger around them. There was an instinctive feeling that everyone was pushing it and things were getting out of control. My wife and I still talk about it, he said. Anybody who underestimates the impact of the event is full of shit. This was my first taste of the live freaky, die freaky view. The idea that Polanski's circle, with its parties and flexible morals, had brought about their own murders. I thought there might be something here. After all, the murders had been solved and the victims had done seemingly nothing to instigate them. But Bart and others I'd soon speak to still claimed that their lifestyles were to blame. Hey, Mom Cat. I had to get closer to those who'd known Sharon and Roman, anyone who attended these supposedly third parties, but the rejections kept coming. I'd been in touch with Diane Ladd's manager, having heard that Ladd, who'd been married to Bruce Dern at the time of the murders, ran in some of the same circles as Tate and Polanski. Her manager promised to set up an interview. The next day, she called back saying that Ladd had had an emotional, visceral reaction, the manager said. I don't know what happened with Diane back in the 60s, but she adamantly refused to have anything to do with the piece. She even told me that if her name was in it, she was going to contact her attorney. Peter Fonda gave me yet another no. Not long afterward, I came across him at a gas station in the middle of the Mojave Desert. I was just talking about the Mojave Desert and the UFOs.
Yep.
That's cool. I came across him at a gas station in the middle of the Mojave Desert. Of all places, some 5 hours outside of LA. True to form, he was in leathers and on a Harley. I approached him with my business card and tried to explain the story as succinctly as possible. He seemed receptive, but later, when I followed up again, the answer was still no. I mentioned the rash of rejections to Peter Bird. His observation with me, especially as the months wore on, and I began to see that Manson might have been more plugged into Hollywood than anyone cared to admit. Just the fact that they were all saying no, he said, is fascinating. Yeah, that bugs me too. Like, why? Ooh, Bugliosi's first slip. Can't wait to hear it because I couldn't stand that guy. There was one major player who agreed to talk to me. Of course, Vincent Bugliosi. Not only did he sign on for an interview, he invited me to his new home in Pasadena, the same one where, years later, he would threaten to hurt me like I'd never been hurt before if I published my findings. There was no sign of the animosity during our first meeting. On a sunny spring day, Bugliosi gave me 6 hours of his time, driving me around to show me various landmarks related to the crime and enjoying a long lunch with me in one of his favorite restaurants. I was flattered to have captured his attention. Here was the man who'd put away one of the monsters of the 20th century. Later, I would question the motive behind all the generosity. Prosecutor makes a lot of enemies over the course of his career, and Bugliosi, I've learned, made more than most, both in and out of the DA's office. But considering that he'd once fielded death threats from Manson himself, he lived a surprisingly unprotected home, quintessentially suburban. He and Gail, his wife of 43 years, were still moving in when I visited the April of 1999. Bugliosi, white-haired, lean, blue-eyed, greeted me with a firm handshake and a litany of apologies for the unpacked boxes. In the living room, flowers of all kinds, dried, artificial, and real, burst from pots and vases. Their kitchen, adorned with Gail's chicken and rooster, no idea what that means. Chicken and rooster, I don't even know. I don't know how to pronounce that. Oh, with Gail's chicken and rooster tchotchkes. Could have been right out of a 50s sitcom. Bugliosi picked up a hairless cat that brushed against his leg. A rare Siamese breed, he told me. The cat's name was Sherlock because he snoops everywhere. Gail put out a plate of cookies and a pair of iced tea for us. Bugliosi was a fast talker. He sent a tsunami of words in my direction, sometimes jumping out of his chair for no apparent reason. Gail, an island of repose by comparison, buried herself at the kitchen counter. I caught her rolling her eyes as her husband told me what the movie version of Helter Skelter from 1976 was #1 that year, and he had the biggest ratings in TV history prior to Roots. He'd essentially been on a 30-year victory lap, and he had his talking points down cold. It was hard to get him off script. As he drove me around that day, he was still reliving his encounters with Manson in the courtroom. Sometimes it seemed he was quoting almost verbatim from Helter Skelter. On the surface, he seemed chatty and forthcoming, but everything he said for hours was canned. Still hoping for a good angle, I tried to probe, however gently, at the holes I'd noticed in Helter Skelter. For one, how had the cops missed so many clues in the case? Why hadn't they solved it much sooner? As he did in his book, Bugliosi blamed sloppy police work. They never would have cracked the case without him, he told me. Can you imagine? Seated.
Well,
Hey,
arrogant.
Brenda. Yes, conceited, arrogant, narcissistic, an asshole. They never would have cracked the case without him, he told me. I wanted his take on Cielo's house caretaker, William Garrettson. He'd been the only one on the property to survive that night. Garrettson lived in the modest guest house separated from the main home. His story was so unlikely that at first he'd been the LAPD's #1 suspect. He swore that his stereo had been playing loud enough to drown out the murders. He'd heard no part of the burglar's brutal slaughter, even though the screaming and the gunshots had occurred only 60 feet from his bedroom window. And Bugliosi concurred, albeit reluctantly. The police, he reminded me, had conducted sound tests that supported Garrettson. I moved on to Terry Melcher. If Manson had wanted to teach him a lesson, why did he order the killings of people who had no real connection to him, other than that they lived at the same address at different times? Melcher didn't know any of the victims at the Tate house. I couldn't even find evidence that he met any of them. Plus, by Bugliosi's own account, Manson sent his followers to the Cielo house knowing full well that Melcher didn't live there anymore. Bugliosi dodged those questions. Ha! Figures.
Because he's
Instead,
lying.
what, sorry?
Because he's lying.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's something. Bugliosi dodged those questions, instead reiterating the terror that Melcher felt during the trial and for years afterward, fearing that Manson or someone from the family still wanted him dead. Could he put me in touch with Melcher? The mere fact that I'd asked seemed to unnerve him a bit. He said I'd have a hard time getting to him or getting him to talk. Later, when I did manage to track down Melcher, I'd find out why. As the sun was setting after many hours of talk, I asked Bugliosi if he could share anything with me about the case that had never been reported before. The journalist Hail Mary. I could see by the furrow of his brow that he was really thinking about it. I pulled a book from my bag. Barney Hoskins' Waiting for the Sun, A History of LA's Music Industry. I've been reading it for research. What with all the rejections I've gotten, I had a little more free time on my hands than I expected, and I wanted Bugliosi to look at the passage I'd highlighted. Hoskins alleged that a few S&M movies had been filmed in the Tate house, that a drug dealer had once been tied up and flogged against his will at a party there. Other sources, including Ed Sanders' 1971 book, The Family, had made the same claims, but Bugliosi had conspicuously omitted the antidote from Helter Skelter. Bugliosi seemed to be in the midst of some kind of internal debate. After what felt like a long silence, he told me to turn off my recorder. Of course he did. This can never be attributed to me, he began. Just say it's from a very reliable source. I'll explain later in the book why I'm treating this as a on-the-record response. When he joined the case, the detectives told Bugliosi they recovered some videotape in the loft at the house in Cielo Drive. According to detectives, the footage, clearly filmed by Polanski, depicted Sharon Tate being forced to have sex with two men. Bugliosi never saw the tape, but he told the detectives, put it back where you found it. Rowan has suffered enough. There's nothing to gain. All it's going to do is hurt her memory and hurt him. They're both victims. Fuck. If Roman Polanski is the one filming it, then how's that going to hurt him if he knows about it?
Exactly.
He did it. That doesn't even fucking
Also,
make sense.
as a prosecutor, that's not his option. He doesn't have that choice to eliminate evidence.
Absolutely not. He had no right to do that. Wow.
Just the start, though.
It was a tawdry aside, I thought. And anyway, Bugliosi had reported most of this episode before in Helter Skelter. He wrote that the cops had recovered a tape of Roman and Sharon making love. That's right. I remember that.
That's not the same thing, though.
It's not, but I remember him saying that. Not like that, not this.
Nope.
And that it had been discreetly returned to their home. Polanski had found it not long after on the same visit with Julian Wasser and the psychic. He climbed the ladder to the loft, Bugliosi writes, found the videotape LAPD had returned, and slipped it into his pocket, according to one of the officers who was present. The more I thought about it, the more startled I was that the footage was so sordid. It gave me yet more weight to the live freaky, die freaky motto. And soon after, it occurred to me, if Polanski had coerced Sharon into sleeping with two men, that's what I was thinking, and filmed it, wasn't that spousal abuse? Roman's a sicko, Bugliosi had said. He was making her do it. I was just going to ask, was it R.E.P.? Was it R.E.P.? If Bugliosi was telling the truth, that was a big if. I soon acknowledged. The tapes seemed like something that could have raised Polanski's profile as a suspect, and something, therefore, that the police should have retained as evidence. Holy shit.
It's almost like they traded one crime for a lesser crime and then didn't prosecute against certain people because they were certain people.
That's bullshit right there. I don't care who Polanski is. Wow.
Yep.
I hope that I could verify Bugliosi's story. It was the first piece of new information I'd found so far. In my haste to keep reporting, I failed to see that the revelation came with a slip up on his part, one that would take me more than 6 years to recognize. He couldn't have told the detectives to put the tape back to the loft. As a DA, he wasn't assigned the Tate murder case until November 18th, 1969, months after Clancy's August 17 return to visit the house.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, very.
See, that's what
In the
happens
early
with people
phases
that
of a
lie and then make up stories. They forget what they said originally, and they can't remember.
exactly.
That's why I can't lie, because it's like I have no memory for that. Like, it doesn't compute in my brain.
No. Jesus, this is crazy. You know what though? I actually believe it. This is more believable than the bullshit story Bugliosi wrote.
The farther we get into it, it's going to make so much more sense as to why he wrote that the way he wrote it. Why the helter skelter. He was
Yeah,
covering his own ass.
that's what I'm thinking. And Brenda's pointing out, it makes me wonder how much insurance he had on her. I want to know that too. That's a very damn good question. I'm
Yep.
sure we'll find out. In the early phases of a case, police need to talk to DAs like Bugliosi to authorize the search warrants. If he'd learned about the tape from the detectives back in August, if he'd been the one, as he claimed, who ordered and returned to the house, then something in the police investigation had necessitated his involvement much earlier than I'd ever acknowledged. Maybe it was something trifling. Maybe it was something he felt he had to cover up to protect some celebrities' reputations. The point was, we'd never know because it was something he'd hidden from his readers. Though I hadn't caught this mistake, there were more variations to come. When I finally found them, it would change the whole tenor of our relationship. Ugliness and purity. Helter Skelter opens with a famous sentence. It was so quiet. One of the killers would say later, you could almost hear the sound of ice rattling in the cocktail shakers in the homes down the canyon. First half of the book, concerning the police investigation, traffics in the dread of that sentence. Given Bugliosi's revelation to me, it was the first place I started looking for a break. If he had changed one detail about the case, could he have changed others? Yeah. That question would reoccur throughout my entire investigation. The LAPD had assigned two separate teams of detectives to the cases, one for the Tate murders and one for the LaBiancas. Despite the similarities in the crimes, the LAPD had concluded, as mentioned earlier, that the LaBiancas were the victims of a copycat crime, which is complete bullshit.
The
After
sad part
all,
is that these people that were all involved are either dead, too old to know anything, so nothing will happen to them. But it really
yeah,
kind of wonders about today's society with all the corruption that gets exposed in today's society. If it was already back then, how much worse
yeah.
is it in now?
Plus, the truth means something to me, to everyone, I think. And this, I don't know, this case has always been boggled my mind, as I know of many other people, um, many readers, police officers, a whole lot of people. And it's nice that I get to finally read the truth because I don't know, I have a really good feeling about this book. And I don't know. Thank you for telling me about it because holy shit.
I just I
If he
I had
made,
watched your one about Charles Manson before, and
yeah,
I thought if she saw this or listened to this, and it would kind of answer a lot of those questions that you have during that time when you were reading that.
yeah. Because the only reason why I read that book is because I had a woman on panel that was actually Barbara Hoyt's daughter.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I've actually been a subscriber for you for a long time. I just didn't ever communicate.
Oh, thank you. Brenda says if he made her have S, makes me wonder if the baby was his, and that could be a motive for murder. I think you're onto something, girl.
not to give too much away, but along with Polanski, she came home basically to nest before she had the baby to get everything ready, and he was scheduled to
Yeah.
come home with her.
Yeah, I
He
remember that.
had like 5 opportunities to come home, and every time he blocked it. He
Yeah.
said, "No, I can't come home," or "This happened," or "This is happening." So it always
Still
made me
filming,
wonder.
or he's stuck somewhere else and she knew he was with the other women.
Yeah, so it always made me wonder if he did have a part in this. This is even before I read Chaos, but it always made me wonder, like, if your wife is pregnant and she wants you home and she's about to deliver in less than a month, why would you not be there?
Yeah. It was always she would always say, "Well, he was filming," when she knew damn well where he was with other
Yeah.
women, having affairs, fucking around.
Well, he was going to orgies and strip joints and everything else, so.
I'm gonna recommend a movie for you to watch. Actually, I'm gonna watch it again tonight, and it's called Wolves at the Door. Hilary Duff plays Sharon Tate. It is probably the saddest movie I've ever seen concerning Sharon Tate. I don't
I've
know what
seen
it
it.
is about this movie. I love it. Like, I just
Except it made me cry.
me too, especially the end.
Oh,
Oh my God.
okay.
It was
Okay,
like
then I wasn't
I
the only one. I was like, why? I'm not probably the only one in the world that's crying at this, but
but I was crying because it was so sad, but I was also crying because I was happy that they ended it like that because it made me
yeah.
almost feel better. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, like, it almost made me feel better. But yeah, that movie, I really, really love it. Wolves at the Door. It's such a great movie. I can't remember who else. There's a couple other people like that movie's stupid. It sucks. It's not true to. Are you kidding me? That movie is more realistic than a lot of the other ones I've seen.
I think it was her sister that had a hand in that one, though, isn't it? I know her sister had a hand in one of the movies or one of the.
In one of them, yeah, that one was more true to Sharon, I think, that
Yeah.
movie, Wolves at the Door, it was more finally, it was about the victims. It wasn't fucking Manson this, Manson that, the family that no. It was what they did, and it was more about Sharon. And what I loved about it too was the fact that she knew this was gonna happen. She
Well,
knew
she
it.
had
It was
premonitions. She had said to
yeah,
J.C. Bruce, she'd said to, I can't remember the other girl's name, one of her other best friends. It'll come up in the book here. I always forget her
yeah,
name. But she had said, this baby isn't, I'm not going to have my baby or something to that effect, or something's going to
yeah,
happen.
she knew,
And
and she
everybody was
knew that she was
reassuring
gonna
her,
die.
like, yeah, like, but I mean, like, if you come to that realization and you have that feeling, like, people aren't really going to listen and take you seriously. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I've always, like, if someone says, like, I've had a premonition about blah blah, because I've had premonitions where they've come true, and like it freaks me out. If I
yep.
don't go around telling everybody, but I mean, for her to be in that position, she must have felt like
She
really
was
alone. That's
scared.
why I think. That's why I
Yeah,
think Jay was still with her, even though they had separated. I think that's why he was still in
yeah.
her life.
I think that they cared deeply for each other, and he really cared for her like a sister, a best friend, whatever. Like, after their romantic whatever, it just didn't work. And plus, there was rumors that he was gay as well. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's true. I don't care if it's true. I just know that I believe, and what I've read, what I've seen in movies, that he was very fond of her. Like,
Well,
Sharon
the
was
other
his.
thing is, back in the Hollywood scene, there was a lot of men on the down low that swung both ways, and it was
Yes.
not talked about. So I don't really think that that should be held against him, because if you
No.
really do a deep dive into Hollywood back then, there was a lot of men that did that.
Yeah. He was probably bisexual, I would think, or maybe he was just gay, and maybe Sharon knew. Maybe she dated
But then
him.
again, you could go the same way with Freddie Mercury. He was gay or bisexual, but
Yeah.
he totally loved Mary, and he totally was committed to her and was there for her everything. And he
Yes.
left all of his, estate to her. So I'm not
Yeah.
saying no one can say that you can't have feelings for both.
Exactly. And I do believe that he cared very much for her, and I believe that she cared very much for him. And I don't think it was on a sexual note. I think it was like a deeper love that I've never experienced.
Me
Like
neither.
soulmates, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like soulmates. That's what I think. That's what I like to believe. Yeah. Wow, this
But they
book
always
is
have to bring out
horrible.
all the dirt on everybody, which is really sad. It's like
Yeah.
their lives got cut short, so now we're gonna go and slander them some more. That's why, like with the Manson stories, when they did the movie about Sharon, I was glad because it was her first time telling the story, even though she wasn't telling the story.
Yeah. I'm just gonna put that movie Wolves at the Door in the comment section if you guys want to watch it. And here's a website too if you guys want to watch it. It's a pain in the ass because you have to keep clicking out of it to get to the movie. It'll take you right out of it, and it'll take you to I don't know, like a commercial almost. I want to say it's annoying, but um you will be able to watch it. So here, check this
I wonder
out
if you
in that movie.
can you stream it in Discord maybe?
Yeah, we can do that. We can watch it tonight. I need something new to watch anyways. I've watched all of The Walking Dead, all Fear the Walking Dead. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, girl. Listen to this. Country Girl Brenda says, last week I had a dream. My daddy said my Uncle Larry's with me. The next day, my aunt called to tell me Larry passed away. You know what? I always know when a family member is going to pass away because they always tell me. I always know. I dream it. Hey, Super
Yeah.
Snakes. No, don't worry about it, girl. Stay here for now.
The only
That is
time
no
I
else.
ever have it, every time I have that blocked where I don't know, is if I'm in the hospital. It's only happened
Mm,
twice where someone has passed and I was in the hospital. But the other time someone had passed and I had a feeling or I knew that at the moment, like I would either, like if I was sleeping, I'd wake up and be like, okay, they're passed, like with my dad and stuff. But
yeah,
when I was in the hospital, when my mom was sick, when I got home, I was like, had no like clue. And then it was just like she was gone just like that. And I was like, damn it. Like, I hate going to
yeah.
hospital just for those reasons. And partly.
It's weird. When I got really sick in 2008, my grandfather, we found out, had over 15 brain tumors, so we knew he was dying. I was told that. I hugged him, kissed him, and I was like heartbroken. And then I ended up getting bacterial meningitis and I had my stroke, and I ended up in the hospital in intensive care at the same time he did. I had to fight my way out of that hospital. I was still sick, but I was getting out of that hospital to say goodbye to my grandfather. By the time I saw him, though, he didn't even know who I was.
That's
Yeah,
why I
I didn't
kind
even
of
get I
wonder if
just
it was
said
like on a
goodbye, but
subconscious level that
I
I
think he
knew
knew.
because I wasn't supposed to get out of
Yeah,
the hospital. And I was like,
me
I
neither.
gotta go home. And they're like, no, you need to stay, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, well, and I
Same.
basically went against MAA advice and checked myself out. But if I wouldn't, I would have missed my mom. I wouldn't have been there when she
Exactly.
passed.
And I wouldn't have been there for my grandfather. That's weird. That's so weird that we have that same thing.
We
But I
got
was
too
getting
much
out of
in
there. I
common.
couldn't even walk still. I couldn't even
Yeah,
walk
that
still.
was,
I remember trying to walk up those stairs, and because you're laying in bed for a month, you're like jello. You can't walk. You can barely, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't do shit. I was supposed to be in a wheelchair and I wouldn't do it. I walked so slow, but hey, I fucking walked right up them stairs with my sister's help. I was going. I didn't care.
it's because your muscles start to atrophy after being in a bed. Like when I was in the bed for 2.5 years, I couldn't, they had to teach me how to walk again. It was
Yeah,
the
we were
hardest
same here.
thing. I was
Yep, and
like,
getting those
this
needles every
sucks.
day for the just in case you get a blood clot. Oh my God, my stomach
Oh,
looked like a damn tic-tac-toe board.
I refused
Ugh.
them after a while because I was sick of getting the bruises because I bruise real easy. And my whole
Yeah,
stomach just looked like one huge big bruise. And I was like, they're like, well, you have
yeah,
to get them. I'm like, I don't want them. I'm like, I'm going to get a blood clot, I'm going to get a blood clot. I said, I'm not doing it. I never got a blood clot. I'm like,
good.
I know you guys think this is preventative, but I think it's doing me more harm because I couldn't even bend my stomach. Like if I went to try to sit up or
Yeah,
something, it
it
just was
hurt.
one big pain. Yeah, it hurt.
Exactly. Well, they when I had my son, I had a C-section. So I wasn't even in bed that long. I think well, obviously the first like when I just had him, I slept that night and then I was in bed all the next day, but and then I think I'm pretty sure I got up within like 2 days or something like that. And they were giving me the needles just in case I get a blood clot. Well, I was up and moving around, so I didn't need that. You don't need it if you're moving around. You're not laying in bed all day, right? And this fucking nurse comes in and she's like, "So you're refusing to take this medication or you're refusing this injection?" Yeah, I'm walking around and I
Yeah.
need it. And I knew what I was talking about because I had a stroke and the meningitis, and I knew why I was getting the injections because I was in fact in bed. I was in bedridden. There's no reason why I need them. And she fought with me. She bitched at me. Oh my God. I told her, I said, get the fuck out of my room and don't come back. I'm telling you, do not come back. I'm done with this. I'm not having another one. So you're refusing. I'm just like, oh, you're lucky. I wanted to punch her. Like she was a bitch. Like
Yeah, I got
she
into
literally
an
didn't know what the
actual
fuck she was doing.
a physical altercation with a nurse one time. I have
Oh,
an injury to my hand, and it
hmm.
gets cramped, and I have to make a fist or try to make a fist to relieve the pressure.
Ooh,
And I had my fist. She thought I was hoarding my medicine, which would just be stupid because I don't know why I would hoard medicine in a hospital anyway. And I refused to open my hand because it was still tense. It wasn't relaxed yet. So she got an orderly and they were fighting with me. And I told her, I'm like, if you don't get the F away from me right now, I'm punching each of you in the face. And I said, you can deal with it later. And then finally they
that is
both
some
gave up.
bullshit.
But I'm like, do you always manhandle your patients because you make assumptions, just because you turned
Yeah,
your back while I was swallowing my medicine and did not see me, you automatically assume instead of asking
you're
me,
not in a
start
psych
to
ward. Like,
manhandle
what
me.
the hell? Even if you were, you
Exactly.
can't treat
I
people
was
like that.
Well, she got fired, so that was good, but because I wasn't going to
Good.
take it. I called, well, I had another altercation with another nurse like earlier that week that thought that I needed to get up and take a bath when I couldn't even stand, and they were giving me bed bath, but she didn't want to do the work for a bed bath, so she thought she was just going to get me up, and so I was fighting with her. So I had the direct number to my doctor. And so after the incident where they were like manhandling me, I called him up and she got fired. And he's just like,
Good.
we
That's
don't deal with that
amazing.
here, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't know what your hospitals run like, but so far I've had two really bad run ins in less than 2 months. And this sucks.
I've only ever had, and that was it. Just that one nurse I was telling you about. And that was when I had my son. When I was in the Kingston General, they were so nice to me. They were amazing. I didn't have anybody up there. I was in there for just over a month and I didn't have any family, friend, nobody. Um, so this one nurse, she was younger. I think she was just a little bit younger than me or my same age as me. I was 24 and she would go and buy like Snickers bars and stuff for me because I think she asked me
Aw.
what her top bar was and I said Snickers and she would go and she would buy them for me from the vending machine and then she would like give them to me whenever she was on when she was on the schedule because she became like a friend because she was there all the time. She'd give me her phone so I can call home, all this other stuff. I was just like, thank you. You're awesome. She was like, here, let me give you a massage. Because you get so sore when you're bedridden, right? Like
Yep.
you need a massage.
And
You're
that,
like, "Oh."
and the thing is that because I was a nurse and because I've been in their position, I'm really easy to get along with. So I was really like
Yeah.
taken back by the treatment that I was getting because I'm like, ask any
Yeah.
of the other nurses, they all love me. And then when I got sent to the nursing home, when they had to teach me how to rewalk and all that stuff, all the nurses, I had a little cart that I filled up with candy because if you're a nurse, you don't get breaks. I mean, it's like eat on the go.
Yeah,
You're,
I heard that.
always going. So I always had like a big wheeled cart that I would roll around to all the nurses stations in the nursing home and then give them free candy. So it's like, if you just are nice and treat me like a human being, I'm great to you. I have a lot of respect for what you do because I did it. But if you're going to
Yeah.
treat me like crap, yeah, I'm going to go off on you.
Oh yeah, I definitely did. Like when you were saying something about trying to give you a bath or whatever, I couldn't walk still. So the nurse was like, "Do you think you'd be okay to have a shower today? Do you want to try?" I'm like, yeah, I said I don't when the fuck was I last cleaned? She's like, you get clean with floss and stuff. I said, yeah, I think I better get my ass in there. I couldn't get up. She's like, no, 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 I'm gonna have to help you. So she put me in this it was like a wheelchair, but it had the hole where your ass was. So like the water
Yeah.
would go through. I was so embarrassed and so weak I couldn't do anything. So she had to wash my hair. She's like, "Do you want your legs shaved?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, Hurry up and get me out of here." Like, I feel like an idiot. Here I am completely naked, like 90 pounds because I lost so much weight. And she's washing me and she's like, "Here, I'm gonna go steal some of this girl's shampoo because our sucks." Like, she was awesome. But I was like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." She's like, "Girl, it's my job." Like, still, I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
but it's still
Oh,
not
she was
easy
great.
to it's still not easy to accept that kind of help because it is so personal. And like I
She
was
was lovely.
110 pounds. Yeah, it was only
Yeah.
110 pounds. So like they would go to put the blood pressure cuff and it would fall off. They had to get a child's cuff. It was just awful. But
Yeah, like, so,
you know,
yeah, we lose a lot of weight in there because especially when you're on a feeding tube or
yeah,
the one that goes in your
feeding tube.
nose.
I couldn't have that one because I had a ruptured esophagus hernia on mine, so they had to do
Oh,
surgery.
shit.
So they couldn't give me that one, so they'd do the stomach one. And
Oh,
unfortunately, that stomach tube was like not revolutionarily new, but it wasn't like frequently used. And I had acid
yeah.
burns from one side of my stomach to the other. And then it would
Oh my
fall out
god.
periodically because my body would start to reject it. And unfortunately, where I live here from where I was being treated, they've
Yeah.
never used that kind of tube. And they had to give a heart surgeon to reinsert it. I'm like, this is scary. I'm like, you guys don't even
Well,
know the
yeah.
anatomy you're working with. And now I've got to trust you that you're going to insert it in the right place. Okay.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
it was awful.
American Horror Story comes on tonight? Fuck yeah. Oh, you have that idiot's in it. Kim Kardashian.
Oh, she is not, is she?
Yeah, she's in it.
Ugh.
Disgusting. I don't
I'm
like
not a
I
Kardashian fan. Ugh.
me neither.
Okay, sorry, but got on a tangent. But
No, I don't care. It's fun. Despite the similarities in the crimes, the LAPD had concluded, as mentioned earlier, that the LaBiancas were the victims of copycat crime. After all, there was seemingly little common ground between the Lux Beverly Hills set at Cielo and the suburban couple in Los Feliz. The police fanned out in what would become the largest murder investigation in Los Angeles history. The LaBianca team operated in relatively anonymity. The press couldn't muster much interest on their case, at least not when Sharon Tate's killer was on the lam. On the other side of town, by contrast, the Seattle crime scene was like a carnival. The LAPD had assigned 21 men to this case. Helicopters hovered over the hilltop property. Guards stood, watched around the clock at the entry gate. Detectives moved to lock down their initial suspect right away, William Garrison. The lone survivor of the night's massacre was dragged out of the guest house, sleepy eyed, shirtless, and barefoot, shoved into a patrol car, and driven straight to headquarters, where he was read his rights and charged with 5 murders. Garrison, only 19, couldn't explain why he hadn't heard anything that night except to say it might have been because he had a stereo on. For 3 days, he was on front pages around the world as he languished behind bars. Finally, police concluded he was just a slow kid in the wrong place at the wrong time.
they do the dry shampoo for my hair most of the time.
I was told baby power. Baby power. Oh my god. Baby powder for your hair. Baby power. That's it. Oh.
But then again, I was losing all my hair anyway, so it didn't really matter to me. I've got it all back now, though. All nice and thick.
Yeah. Ugh, I hate that. No, I didn't have anyone to help me either, Teresa. I had no family there. I still don't understand why. But oh well, payback's a bitch. I know it is. It is very hard to believe that, especially gunshots. They're really loud, and the screaming. I don't know.
My my question was, if he was listening to music, why didn't the killers hear the music? Wouldn't they have heard the music and went there and said, "Oh my God, there's somebody else here"?
Yeah. Or they thought, or maybe they didn't really hear the music. I don't know. Maybe there was no windows open or something. But then if there was windows open, yeah, they would have it. Maybe they thought, fuck it, he probably can't hear us anyways, or they just didn't care enough. I don't know. So many questions.
Well, one of supposed Manson's commands was leave nobody behind.
You're right. Yeah. That is weird. That doesn't make sense then.
Because unless it was a soundproofed guest house, which I don't know why that. I mean, Terry Melcher was
Yeah,
in the music business, but it's never come out that that house was soundproof.
exactly. Used for. We'll have to look it up and see if it was ever used for playing music or anything. I don't know. I like my ears. Detectives moved to lock down their initial suspect right away. I just read that. In those same first 24 hours, the Tate detectives got a tip. A friend of the victims had been telling people that he knew who the murderers were. Convinced that his knowledge would get him killed, the friend had gone into hiding. He was Witold Kaskanowski, an artist and Polish emerge who'd known the Tate crowd through his countryman Wojciech Frykowski. Police tracked him down through Roman Polanski's manager, lured by promise of 24-hour police protection. Kaskanowski finally consented to be interviewed. He believed that Frykowski had been involved in the drug trade with a host of career criminals and other unsavory characters. One of these was a man named Harris Pick Dawson, who had at a recent party threatened to kill Frykowski. Remember how Susan Atkins wrote the word pig on the front door of Cielo Drive in Sharon Tate's blood? Kazanowski thought that the word pick, he thought it was the word pick, P-I-C, as in Pick Dawson.
Yep.
The police found him credible, especially because they learned about another altercation at the Cielo house was past spring. Then Tate and Polanski had thrown a going away party, although the couple had moved in only on February 15th. By the end of March, they had to leave for a separate film job in Europe, where they'd remain for most of the summer. At their farewell party, attended by more than 100 guests, 3 gate crashers had behaved so aggressively that Polanski had them kicked out. They were Billy Doyle, Tom Harrigan, and Pick Dawson. Hoping to ask Polanski about these 3, police anxiously awaited his return from London, scheduled for the evening of August 10th, the day after the bodies had been discovered. Polanski flew back to LA under heavy sedation with his longtime producer, Gene Gutkowski, and 2 friends, Warren Beatty and Victor Loans. At the airport, he was spirited through a side exit to a waiting car while Gutkowski read a statement to the throngs of press. The chairman of the Paramount Pictures had arranged a suite for Polanski on the studio lot, a place where he could avoid the prying eyes of the press and the killers too, if they were out to get him. But before he arrived at Paramount, Polanski and his car stopped at Denny's parking lot for a hushed conversation with Koskowski. Bugliosi never reported this in Helter Skelter. The media never knew about it. To me, it was something to explore. Oh, remember,
So
I'm gonna go through.
you come home, your wife's dead, and you go to Denny's. I don't know,
Yeah, what
something
the
wrong with
fuck is
that
that?
picture.
Can you put Country Girl Brenda's and Super Snoop's channel? Somebody, please. One of my mods. After they chatted at Denny's, Kasanowski got in the car and headed to Paramount with the director. They talked all the way to the lot. When the LAPD arrived at the studio that evening, they were barred from entering Polanski's suite until he finished the debriefing. Bugliosi didn't find that worth mentioning. He only wrote that Polanski was taken to an apartment inside the Paramount lot, where he remained in seclusion under a doctor's care. The police talked to him briefly that night, but he was, at that time, unable to suggest anyone with a motive for the murders. I feel like he was sedated or whatever the hell it was because he didn't want to get caught or something. Caught with no emotion. I don't know. Polanski's friends, Lowndes and Katowski, confirmed the secret Denny's meeting and interviews with me. Both defended it as a simple exchange of information between 2 longtime friends. And yet Polanski, in a polygraph exam with the LAPD, had denied knowing Kazganowski at all. Thanks, Teresa. Sensing there was more to the story, I sought out Kazganowski, who, like so many others connected to the victims, had never spoken to reporters about the murders. Over the phone, somewhat to my surprise, he promptly agreed to discuss the case with me. Yes, he said, the Denny's meeting had happened, but despite its seeming urgency, there was nothing to furtive about it. He'd only answered one of Polanski's questions about Perkowski's possible drug dealing. Kazanowski emphasized that his suspicion that Pick Dawson had targeted Perkowski sent the police on a months-long chase that amounted to nothing. And yet it was easy to see how Perkowski may have gotten in over his head in those months before the murders. It was a turbulent time at the Cielo House. I learned much more fraught than Bugliosi had reported. When Tate and Polanski left, they gave Perkowski and Abigail Folger the run of the place, and things got weird. The couple threw parties all the time. The door was open to anyone and everyone. The crowds grew rowdier, the drugs harder, and not just pot and hash, but abundance of cocaine mescaline, LSD, and MDA, which was then a new and fairly unheard of synthetic. Bukowski was especially enamored of it. Dawson, Doyle, and Harrigan, the same trio who had been booted from the party in the mid-March, were now regular guests at the house, sometimes staying for days at a time. They also supplied most of the drugs. By July, the three men, all international smugglers, who had cornered the market on MDA, which was manufactured in Doyle and Harrigan's hometown, Toronto. Oh, nice. That's my hometown. Bukowski wanted in. Although he didn't have much cash, Folger, his heiress girlfriend, kept him on a tight leash financially. He negotiated a deal with his new friends, making himself a middleman between them and Hollywood. Soon after we spoke on the phone, Kazganowski visited Los Angeles. I met him in the backyard of his friend's home in West Hollywood. A handsome man with a craggy face, thick black hair, and robust blue eyes. He spoke with a heavy accent and a reserved, contemplative air. Though it was maybe 3 in the afternoon, he opened a bottle of red wine and poured us each a generous glass. He'd been the last of Bukowski's friends to see him alive. The two had gotten together at his gallery just hours before the murders. He intended to visit the Tate house that night, but he was too tired. Bukowski called him around midnight, likely just minutes before the killers arrived, to try and talk him into coming over. Now he showed me a large manila envelope full of old info, including Bukowski's airline ticket to the United States, dated May 16, 1967, and a reference letter Polanski had written for him on Paramount stationery. These artifacts seemed to transport Kazganowski's. The 60s, he said, were often on his mind. I can close my eyes, and I can feel that it's 1969. I hear people's voices, I see their faces, Kazganowski said. He was amazed at how the usual indicators of class and status had disappeared in Hollywood at the time where the most extreme ugliness with total purity was mixed up. The blurriness was the inevitable outcome of the open door policy they'd all subscribed to at the end of the decade. Totally primitive, uneducated people could dress and act like visionary artists, and you couldn't know absolutely who was who. You could have Manson, and you could even have a great poet, and it was impossible to make a distinction. Accordingly, Kazganowski remembered so many strange people coming and going from the house on Cielo Drive, where he would sometimes stay with Frykowski for days at a stretch. I didn't trust them, he said of the guests. They walked so freely through the place. He would ask Frykowski who these people were, and the answer always came with degrees of removal. They were friends of this guy or friends of so and so. That was why, after the murders, he felt he'd gotten a bead on who the killers were. The same set of drug dealers that Bugliosi mentioned passingly in Helter Skelter. I remember Wojciech telling me that they threw Pick Dawson out of a party. He said, taking a sip of wine. They told Pick Dawson to take his backpack and fuck off. Kazanowski remembered another party a few weeks before the murders, where he'd had to kick out two very drunk guys. At the gate, they were standing on the other side, looking at Wojciech and me, and said, "You sons of bitches, we'll be back and we will kill you." All the months of partying with Bukowski had a cumulative effect. He met so many threatening characters that, when his friend turned up dead, he was convinced one or more of them was to blame. He wondered if Rakowski, even Polanski, or Sebring had ever encountered Manson or his followers. His concern was uncertainty still felt raw. He was someone who'd been so close to the victims, and he'd held onto their possessions for all these years, and he still couldn't rule out the possibility of a revenge motive. As I sat across from him, the elaborate puffery of the helter-skelter motive and all the panicked headlines that came with it seemed to recede into the afternoon smog. If Rakowski were alive, I ventured, and Kazganowski could ask him one question, what would it be? Looking down into his wine, he said quietly, "Did you ever meet anybody from the group of people who came to kill you?" Huh. Right? Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Holy shit, this thing's so long. Seriously? No way is that long. I'll read one more. He who dies with the most toys wins. Having finished what would be her final film, The 13 Chairs, also known as 12 Plus 1, Sharon Tate came back to Cielo House in July 1969. More than 7 months pregnant, she wanted to have her baby in the house she loved, but Polanski, who was supposed to have returned by then, deferred his homecoming. He needed to continue scouting locations for his next film, assuring her that he'd be back in time for the baby's arrival. He asked his old friend Frykowski to stick around with Folger and keep Tate company. That at least is the version Bugliosi provides. Once I'd heard from him about Polanski's tape and the Cedar side of Cielo, I started pushing harder in my interviews, and diverging stories developed. Polanski's intimates said that Tate was grateful for the company. She didn't want to be alone in that secluded estate, especially at the end of her pregnancy. As for Polanski himself, his friends described him as careful, conservative, even square, and deeply in love with his wife. If he said he had to stay at London for work, that's what he was doing. Bullshit. Bullshit. Others remembered it differently. Tate had been horrified at the scene that greeted her upon her return to Los Angeles. She was leery of Folger and especially of Rakowski, whom she suspected of drug dealing. She wanted the couple and the crowd attached to them out of her house. That's true. Remember that too. As I won the confidence of some of her closest friends, they came out with intensely disturbing stories. Her marriage was in shambles, they said, and many of them didn't want her to fix it. They wanted her to leave it. Polanski had established a pattern of abuse, emotional and physical. Fucker. The Sharon Tate they knew, warm and vivacious, was diminished in his presence. The difference in Sharon was incredible, said Elke Sommer, the German actress who appeared with her in The Wrecking Crew. She just wasn't herself when she was with him. She was in awe or frightened or had an awesome charisma. The treatment that Polanski could walk all over her. One friend who called him one of the most evil people I ever met said that he had holy shit, had smashed Tate's face into a mirror and on another occasion forced her to forced her to watch a recording of him having sex with another woman. He cheated on her constantly. He made sure she knew about it. Another friend remembered an incident in which Polanski had asked his wife to wear the same dress that one of his other lovers had worn. When she appeared in her own dress instead, he threw her into the pool in front of their friends. Others said that Polanski hosted orgies at the house without his wife's knowledge or consent. He's a sick piece of shit. The more I
My
learned
theory,
about him,
the one
man,
movie that she did with him, I'm thinking that he blackmailed or something, because I never
yeah,
understood the attraction between them. I mean, if you look at her, how beautiful she was, and him,
right?
it just didn't fit.
No, it doesn't. It never did. Hey, Queen Donnie. Charles Manson just gave me anxiety. My mom taught us all about him and weirdos and what to. Oh wow. Dominic Dunn, who'd been close to Tate, Polanski, and Jay Sebring, was confident on that point. I never went to their orgies, but I know they existed, and I think Jay was in on it too, he said to me. No way. No. The director, James Toback, who would himself be disgraced nearly 20 years later by more than 200 allegations of sexual assault, was even more certain. One night, Warren Beatty had invited him to a party at the Tate House. Toback brought Jim Brown, a football all-star who became an action film hero. At the party, people began to whisper about an orgy. I was going to be included because I was with Jim, Toback told me, and I was certainly up for it, but Jim declined. And yet, James Toback is full of shit and always has been. Paul Silbert, a production designer and a friend of Polanski, told me nothing crazy went up there. There were no orgies, not that I ever had been to, and I was up there frequently. He conceded that Polanski was peculiar, but whatever his kinkiness was, it was on a small scale and quite private. He might have been hinting at orgies, but there were never any. Orgies or no, at a certain point, Tate felt that she'd suffered enough. As the humiliations accumulated, she approached Elke Summer for her advice. Summer remembered telling her, "I'd take the next heavy object, whether it's an iron or a frying pan or a spade out in the yard, and I'd just brain them." Tate wasn't about
Elkie,
to do
that was
that.
it. Elkie, I can
Elke.
never remember her name.
Yeah, it's odd. I can't remember. What is she? Not German. Was it German? I can't remember.
I thought she was Swedish, but I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it is Swedish. Tate wasn't about to do that, but she did on a few occasions warm to the idea of leaving Polanski. Summer thought she was always too much in her husband's thrall to follow through. There was a tremendous sickness when I worked with Sharon, Summer said, a horrendous sickness surrounding her relationship. She was quite lost. A number of Tate's friends were quick to mention the undesirable company she kept, with Prakowski and Folger at the top of the list. Tate couldn't stand them, said Joanna Pettit, another actress who'd become close to her. The two had lunch together at the house on the day of the murders. Patet was surprised to see Brakowski and Folger, whom she'd never met before, walking around like they owned the place. I asked, "Who are these people? Why are they here?" She said Roman didn't want me to be alone. Tate tolerated the pair only because her husband insisted on it. On the phone with Polanski, she so depressed that she fell into tears. She complained that the two had brought too many drugs into the house, too much chaos, but Polanski refused to turn them out. She asked constantly when he would come home, but he kept postponing his trip. Moreover, she tried to stay with him in London and he wouldn't let her. He didn't want her there. Wow. I'd gone to great lengths to track down Patet, who had quite the movie business in the 90s. She lived in the high desert beyond Palm Springs, where she was something of a recluse with no phone. It had dawned on me that I might be able to reach her through the Screen Actors Guild. They would have her address on file since they were responsible for mailing her residual checks. Through them, I sent her a long letter, and she agreed to meet me for a lunch at a small strip mall near her house. She was slightly apprehensive when she first arrived. Then, 57, she cut a striking figure, dressed head to toe in denim, with dark glasses that obscured her piercing eyes, until she felt comfortable enough to remove them. "I lost it when Sharon was killed," she said. "I had to be hospitalized and missed the funeral." She made no attempt to conceal her contempt for Polanski. "I hated him," she said flatly. As others had, Ted described a marriage in which he exuded an almost casual cruelty towards his wife. For 4 months in the summer of 67, Patet had stayed with the couple at a rented beach house, and she began to notice how often Polanski bossed Tate around. He had a malicious streak. Sometimes it reached Petite herself. He would throw a brick in the pool and watch my dog dive for it and try to retrieve it. He stood there laughing. The dog wouldn't give up. Oh, piece of shit. After Shannon's funeral, Polanski called Patet. On the phone, he was strange with me, cold as ice. There was no despair, and I was sobbing. He wanted to know what she told the police. It made her wonder what was behind her friend's murder. At the time, I suspected it was maybe friends of his who did it. All I know is he never came when he asked him to come back, and she was here. Figuring that Polanski's confidence would want to tell a different story, I coaxed Bill Tennant, his manager, into talking to me. Tennant had never given an interview about the murders, in part because the events of 1969 had sent his life into a tailspin. He had the somber task of identifying the bodies at the Tate House. In 1993, Peace and Vanity by Peter Bart, as coincidence would have it, described Tennant's fall from grace. Through the 60s and 70s, he found great success in Hollywood, discovering the script for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and agenting Peter Fonda's deal for Easy Rider. But Bart had found him, a gaunt, battered figure, sleeping in a doorway on Ventura Boulevard. A cocaine addiction had done away with his marriage and his money, lending him to trade even the gold inlays in his teeth for a fix. And Bart's assessment, the shock of the Manson murders began unraveling him. I tracked down Tennant in London, where he was sober, remarried, and managing Michael Flatley, the Lord of the Dance. He became a born-again Christian, but he displayed little compassion or forgiveness for Polanski, his one-time client and friend. "Roman is a shit," he said, echoing what I heard from other friends of the couple. Tennant said there were two versions of their story. Which one do you want to tell? On one hand, Polanski had fallen into dissolution in London, where he was working on a movie and sleeping around a while. Back in California, his pregnant wife was putting together a home. Tate wound up getting murdered because he was fucking around in London, he said, but that was just one side of it. Wow. The other story is sitting in the Bel Air Hotel with Roman after the funerals and having to address his financial situation. Brenda, I think you're onto something. The other story is sitting in the Bel Air Hotel with Roman after the funerals and having to address his financial situation, which was not very good, Tennant said, and Roman looking across the table at me and saying, "I wish I had spent more. I wish I had bought more dresses. I wish I'd given more gifts." So what story do you want to tell? The one about this little prick who left his wife alone with Jay Sebring and Gibby Folger and Wojciech? These wankers, these four tragic losers? Or do you want to talk about poor kid Roman Polanski? Wow. Tennant resisted the idea that the murders represented a loss of innocence for Hollywood. There was nothing innocent about it. He said it was retribution. The big value in Los Angeles, when he was there, Tennant said, was this: he who dies with the most toys wins. I think it's pretty self-serving to call that period and what was going on innocent? What's innocent about drugs? What's innocent about promiscuous sex? You tell me where the innocence was. Within a week of the murders, Polanski was partying it up with Warren Beatty, he added. The brutal reality was that nobody cared or gave a shit about Sharon Tate. Not because they weren't nice, but because she was expendable. As expendable as an actor whose option comes up and gets dropped. After his wife's murder, Polanski stayed on the Paramount Studios lot as much as he could. It was the only place he felt safe. Not just from the killers and the media, from the LAPD. You found the police surveillance units, and you found that the police in Los Angeles knew everything about everybody, Tennant said. That there was a kind of FBI/CIA aspect of Los Angeles Police Department, and that they knew everything there was to know. Although he had no way of knowing in 1969, Tennant wasn't being paranoid when he wondered how the LAPD knew so much about his friends. Many law enforcement agencies, including the LAPD, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office, and the FBI, have maintained units to surveil and even infiltrate groups that they considered subversive or threatening. At this stage, I wasn't inclined to view law enforcement with anything approaching suspicion. Even so, I was beginning to see the official version of the case with a jaundiced eye. This part here where they say, the LAPD, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office, and the FBI have maintained units to surveil and even infiltrate the groups of Manson. That was actually in a show. I believe it was Californication with Mulder, David Duchovny. It's called Californication, and what was the other one? Shit, something Minds.
Criminal Minds?
No. That's a nice one. Is probably not how you spell, but that's it. That's with David. That's with Mulder, and the other one I'm gonna stop reading for tonight. It's a good book. I really like it. I don't want to stop reading, but my throat is killing me. It's on both of them, I believe, are on oh my god, Netflix. Hold on.
The only thing I know
Manhunt.
about Californication is Rick Springfield was in one episode.
Here's the other one on Netflix, Manhunt. It's really good, like really good. I really like that one. It also features Edmund Kemper. I can't remember their names, but no, Edmund Kemper was in it. There's 2 seasons out that I've seen. There might be more by now, but that's another good season. Actually, I'd like to get into both of them. So Mulder ends up getting, what was it, drunk and high with Charles Manson. I can't remember who he was playing though, but he was playing guitar. They made music together. It was just insane. But with Manhunt, that's where you see the FBI and all the law enforcement that infiltrated it, the
Mm-hmm.
family there on the ranch and whatnot, and they were actually in there. So both of those shows are actually pretty good to watch. There's a lot of information in either one that's not on both, if you know what I mean. Hey, Amanda.
The more you get into the book, you're going to see more of how involved they actually were and how many
Yeah,
times or how many chances they had to apprehend Manson and they didn't do it. They just, for some reason or another, thought, okay, here's a career criminal who cannot have firearms, who cannot possess drugs, but we're just going to let him go.
that was in. Okay, I think it's not Manhunt. What the? What the hell was it? M something. Hmm.
So she is German.
Is it German? Okay.
Oh.
Find Hunter. Thank you. That's it. She is German. All right. I'm going to show you. I'll show you guys the trailer for this one on Netflix. There's Ed Kemper. Freaking looks like him too. Crazy, eh? This is the one. This is the same season with Ed Kemper. This one is just wow.
So you paid to be here. Mashed between half an inch of plexiglass.
Well, cops like me because they can talk to me more than they can talk to their own wives.
Now this fucker killed his grandparents. He actually was friends with the police. They didn't even realize that he was a serial killer. And just them like seeing him to the real life Ed Kemper, wow, like they did a really good job in this series. It's called what the hell did I say it was? Manhunt? No, Mindhunter. Yeah, Mindhunter, right? Yeah. All right, I'm just gonna finish playing this and then we'll get in here.
Did the cops like you?
Look at this.
Like I said, a friendly nuisance. I got in the way.
I watch all the cop shows on TV.
Do you know Joseph Wambaugh, Police Story? You ever watched that?
Huge fan.
Oh,
I got a lot of my insights right there.
really?
Joseph Wambaugh, Police Story. Got some tremendous insights into not just the gimmicks, the actual things, the tidbits that you would pick up from their procedures, but the mechanics behind that, the logic behind it, was I would not allow myself to walk into even a potential trap.
I would not allow myself to walk into a trap because I knew exactly how their minds work from watching Wambaugh.
What kind of trap are you talking about?
And one of those was talking about those crimes too much to people, initiating conversations about that.
The classic is talking too much about the crimes, over interest. You have to remain casual.
It would be a guess,
But I'd say right now,
far more than 35.
in North America, more than 35.
35.
Well, I'm not an expert.
Well, hold on, I'm not an expert. I'm not
Not
an
an
authority.
I'm someone
That's
who has
crazy.
been a murderer for almost 20 years.
I'm just an extremely accomplished murderer.
I was also involved in killing co-eds because my mother was associated with college work, college co-eds,
She had a very violently outspoken position on men.
and had had a very strong and violently outspoken position on men.
Then comes this picture postcard, groovy, happy young couple on the stairs. They walk right past me.
Walking up to my apartment, past a happy young couple coming down the stairs, who nodded and smiled at me as they went by. Good evening.
Your two worlds are colliding.
My murderous fantasy life. And this, it's a pretty girl, pretty name. Kim or something.
Going
Going out on a date.
where I'd love to be going.
This
I'm
is
aware
messed
of
up.
both
I
of
haven't
these realities
heard
and the
of any of
distance
this,
between them.
actually.
It was so dramatic, so amazing, so violent. And this craving, this awful, raging, eating feeling inside. I could feel it consuming my insides.
I could feel it consuming my insides.
It's
This
a fantastic
passion.
It was overwhelming me. I wasn't impotent.
Like I seen the show on Netflix, but I never seen the actual interview and the show together like this. Like this is wow.
But emotionally, I was impotent.
Physically, I wasn't impotent, but emotionally, I was. I knew a week before she died, I was going to kill her.
I knew a week before she died, I was going to kill her.
She went out to a party.
She got soused.
She came home alone.
I was woken up by that. I came out.
You know, that night I
I walked up to her bed.
She's laying there reading a paperback. As many thousands
of nights before.
She says, "Well, I suppose you're going to want to wait
I
up
stood up
all night and talk now." Can you believe that?
I looked at her. I said, no. I said, good night.
Fuck, he's
And I knew I
crying.
was going to kill her. You know?
And I knew I was going to kill her. I was honest with myself for the first time.
And that's the first time in 10 years I've looked at it that way. I mean, that intensely, that honestly. It hurts. A 6 young woman dead because of the way she raises her son and the way her son is raised, the way he grows up.
And now everyone knows it was because of what she did to me, because of the way she treated her son.
I rationalized that to give up would be insane. To give up would be crazy. I'd be giving away my freedom, and I don't need to. But I look back on that and wish I had earlier, when I was saying those things to myself. The people who were later dead wouldn't be. The regret that came later would have not had to be. Those people, not things, those people would still be with their families, with their loved ones.
I know it's silly, but Mom always liked people to look up to her. Whoa.
Yeah, he hates his mom, clearly. Jeez.
Manson hated his mom too.
Yeah. I think that's why they put him on. There's another serial killer on too. I cannot think of his name. Let me see if they'll put it up here. The fuck? Not BTK. What was his name? Jesus. Season 3 is canceled? Canceled David Fincher. Oh. I think they're only up to 3 right now. No. Oh, they're what? Wait, what? Maybe I didn't see season 2. So there's what? Son of Sam, BTK. What was that one fucker? Jesus. See, when I don't know if you ever heard me call KJ Eileen Morno's eyes. That's why. Look at them. Fuck. That's Katie's eyes. I swear to God.
Charlize Theron did a really good job portraying her.
Oh, that's it. Richard Speck. That's the third serial killer.
Made it still. Hid it in a drawer in a guard's desk, right under their fucking nose. They couldn't figure out what the stink was.
Was that true about the first girl? She spit at you? Because they all sounded pretty timid.
All right, she got after me. I told her to shut up.
Did she shut up?
Because, Dad,
It just wasn't their fucking night.
Fucking asshole. Ah, I didn't want to see that. Sorry. So you want to watch that show? Did it make you interested? I'm gonna watch it again because I haven't watched it in a couple of years. I forgot about it.
Okay, we need a palate cleanser like a kitty or a dog or something happy.
Hmm. I probably don't have anything good on mine. My homepage. Oh, you did a video on Mouthy. Oh, fuck no. Oh, Nene Marie.
All I know is that speed. You look like you're having fun. Open up your loving arms. Watch out, here I come.
Oh, I love her makeup. Look at that. Isn't that amazing?
Watch out, here I come. squad child, here I come. Wrong way. I'm a squad child, here I come. Squad child, here I come. Squad child, here I
All I know is that's me. You the fact you're having fun. Open up your love and I'm squad shout. Here I come. Spin me right on, baby, right on. Like a record, baby, right on, round, round. You spin me right on, baby, right on. Like a record, baby, right on, round, round.
squad child, here I come. I'm squad child, here I come. Wrong way. I'm squad child, here I come.
My commenting is supposed to protect the community
Squad child,
because of harassment and cyberbullying. What did I
squad child, here I
fucking bullshit, man? I can't even comment again? Fuck.
All I know is that's me. You
I just wanted to go to her channel. There we go. Walter. Ah, here we go. Oh, Walter. That's perfect. Oh, that sounds good.
What?
What does it say?
Hello, vet. I'm ready to cancel appointment. Cat is fine. No issues. Please prescribe snacks. Thank you.
I worked 10 hours! All I want is great stuff! I'm fucking starving this win! What did you eat today? I ate nothing! Nothing! I worked 10!
Okay, I don't want to show too many because I want you guys to go check out her channel for yourself.
Well, I want to let you comment.
No, well, yeah, it won't let me comment.
Why?
Because apparently I'm harassing and cyberbullying. So stupid. I keep getting, yeah, I'm not allowed to comment at all. It sucks. This
Since
happens
when?
like every other day. I don't know, it happens to me like every other day. Sick of it. Can someone put Nini's channel in here, please? And thank you.
I haven't checked out her shorts. I usually watch her videos. I didn't even think to check the shorts.
Yeah, they're funny. It's always about Walter.
Well, now I have a new one to watch. Your cat's like, you're paying attention to someone else and not me?
Big sucky baby. I'll put Nini in here. Oopsie. Hold on, woman. She does such amazing artwork. So you gotta watch. Yes, I do. I see the baby.
Is she a makeup artist by trade?
By the way, do not promote other platforms. You've got to be freaking kidding me. What do you mean? What do you mean by promote? Can I not put her channel in here?
No, I think she's talking about Rumble or other ones like that.
It's okay, Brenda. Can you explain that, Snoop? Like, don't play. I'm confused. Oh, oh my God. I'm thinking on here, don't promote other channels. No, do not promote other platforms.
Yeah, like Rumble, right?
Okay, so I can't put my Rumble link in here?
That's not true because a lot of creators have Rumble links.
Yeah.
On their IG and their Twitter.
I know you cannot play like TikToks on your on YouTube because that's strictly TikTok, or play Rumble videos on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube's really strict like that. But I mean, you can put your links in. I know that much. You just can't play stuff from other platforms. TikTok, yeah, TikTok for sure. Yeah, because she did that not thinking, putting, what was it, TikTok video, one of your TikTok videos up, and she ended up losing monetization. It was bullshit. YouTube's
I
too,
know I know a lot of channels that take their TikToks and put them over here,
yeah, it's
and
against, I
they're
know that one's
monetized.
against TOS. They just haven't
Wow,
got caught. You're not supposed to. Yeah, it's true. In the new October guidelines, I can use.
that's going to screw up a lot of creators then, because a lot of them cross platform between them. They'll take their YouTube shorts and turn them into TikToks, and take their TikToks and turn them into YouTube shorts.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Wow. I'm glad I'm not a creator. It would drive me nuts.
I can't promote them. I'm gonna have to see because this doesn't make sense. No, I'm not getting it.
We need a deeper explanation. Or maybe better yet, just point us to where in the guidelines it lists it for YouTube. That might help.
Upcoming latest updates. Update to our medical. New live options. External links enforcement. Okay, I'm gonna read that. I'm gonna whoopsie.
It's also kind of shady that as creators, you don't get an automatic update of whatever new guidelines they put out. You have to discover them on your own.
Yeah.
Like, you would think as a creator, they'd be reaching out to you first to say, look, these are our guidelines, like every other app does, like PayPal does, and everything else. They'll say, our guidelines are changing.
Yeah. You're making your bed on my boob.
Just make sure he doesn't bite it.
Oh, just her paw. She's sucking on the blanket. Yeah, come up and explain this because I am so confused.
Well, I'm going to hop down because I got to go eat.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining me.
Well, thanks for doing it. Let me know when you want to do it again.
Probably, what is today? Tuesday?
Tuesday. Yep.
So, I don't know, every Monday, Tuesday?
That works. That's fine.
Okay. We'll do that then.
Bye-bye.
Bye. There we go. Oh my God. So I can't even have my fucking Rumble thing anymore? Wow.
Hey. Nope, you can't promote any other platform, whether it's your account or not. You're right there.
Yeah. It's yeah, it says
Oops, sorry, echo. Yeah,
these links also include verbally directing users to other sites, encouraging viewers to visit creator profiles or pages on other sites.
Yep.
The fuck?
You can't verbally direct them. You can't visually direct them. You can't even have a post with them. Nothing. Whether it's your account or not, you can't do it.
Well, here's a list of them. I'm gonna contact Facebook or YouTube and ask them. Because if that's the case, then
So none. Your bio information is exempt apparently, but you can't mention them in. See, it says under our existing external links policy, violative URLs posted within the video itself or in the video's metadata, titles, descriptions, and tags may result in the video being removed. These links also include verbally directing users to other sites, encouraging viewers to visit creator profiles or pages on other sites, or promising violative content on other sites. This policy applies to any YouTube product or feature. So and see, the thing of it is that it says other sites. So if you have like an Amazon, if you're sponsored by Amazon, I'm guessing that you're not going to be able to do that either. Because it says other sites. It doesn't say just other it's not just other what's it called? It's not just other social media platforms. It's any platform. And Amazon is a platform. So I'm assuming that that's going to mean that all of these people who have contracts with Amazon are going to lose those.
This is fucked up. YouTube is ridiculous. Like, I honestly want to just stay on Rumble. Because this is bullshit.
See, verbally directing viewers to a website to find a profile or page on another platform so they can watch content that violates YouTube's community guidelines.
So me sending them to yesmovies.com is wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck's sake. I'll delete the comments. I don't feel like getting canceled here. God damn it.
And that starts this month. That's why I was telling you, don't do that. So, yeah, but none, you can't do it anymore. We've been able to do it. We've been able to do it all of the time, but we can't do it anymore. You can't link like a GoFundMe. You can't show or link a see right here it says I'm reading it off the other screen, off of your screen, so not off of your screen, but off of the live stream. Yeah.
None of us are going to be aware.
Well, it's not in there yet. Yeah. Those are ads. New uploads. Banning opportunities, providing more options to optimize. Oh, that's not the one I want.
This is crazy.
I know. It's insane, but I mean, that's
gonna
why
be
I was
so hard
telling
to
you,
follow.
don't promote the Yes TV thing and stuff. So, I mean, you can talk about them, I'm sure, but it says don't promote them. So I
Okay.
don't know.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now. None. That's what's
Yeah,
on my
and then
screen is the
it's
new
right there.
update.
We do get those. They're on the bottom of on the
Your
bottom right-hand
dashboard,
side
right?
of the page of the dashboard. And it
Yeah.
just says upcoming changes to community guidelines warnings. It gives you all sorts of information about updates, how to improve your channel, gives you all sorts of interesting information that I skip
You
over
just gotta
because it's not
look.
that interesting.
I already
Um,
have an account on Rumble, but I don't think I can I can't use my link? Yeah, I guess not.
hey, RB. Yeah, RB, don't mention anything about that. That's one of the reasons that they did that is because people are talking about going to others, and so so
Now
we
they're just
can't
gonna
even
make it
talk
worse
about
for
them.
everyone to go over there.
Yeah,
I'm sick of
it's gonna
YouTube.
be. It's get that off your screen, Nikki, please, because yeah, you don't want that up because that is a promotion. If you even mention it, it's a promotion.
This is fucked up.
So they'll demonetize your video. And then from what I read, it was a different page that I went to as well. I went up on Google, but it says that they can demonetize your video. They can demonetize your channel, and they will go as far as removing your channel.
Well, then it looks like KJ's fucking going then because she's violated all of this. Um, wow. Or they might as well take my channel now because I talk about Reddit. I don't put links in, but I talk about Reddit and say where I go to get my shit. I gonna contact them and tell them they're just gonna have to tell me in like stupid
Yeah,
terms because
yeah.
this is fucked up.
It says do not promote them. Do not by you can, that includes including the links in any of your video information within the video in the chat. You can't mention it. Nothing. You can't talk about it. Nothing. So yeah, they screwed us over big time on that because I mean, look how many people use IG. Well, IG,
Well,
the
even tells
R
you,
word
okay, if
to
that's the
get
case,
information and
this
content, but you can't even say, um, so I got this off of R, which word I'm talking about, where you get most of your stuff from KJ. Can't get
yep.
it. You can't say I got it on FB or on R or on
And they should take
IG.
every single one of these links off then. I got
Yeah,
Amazon,
so
Teespring, Buy Me a Coffee, PayPal, Twitter, Patreon.
yeah, none. Bye bye, Mr. Beast. You can use the content. You can't mention the name of the site.
This is
You can use
messed
the
up.
comment and you can give credit, but you can't mention the name of the site in any way whatsoever.
Well, I guess I might as well go over to Rumble then because this
Yeah,
is
country girl,
crazy.
you can't use any of it. You can't say anything in any way, shape, or form on your channel. Period. Whatsoever. That includes. Don't forget your community posts.
I just posted by some. Well, never
So
mind. I posted something by Crystal Bill, but that was from YouTube. So I'm assuming that's okay, isn't it?
What's that?
I promoted Crystal Bill's video. It was a short
Yeah, as
one,
long as it's
but it
at
was
YouTube. As long as it's YouTube. Now, don't
um,
use anything off of another platform and say, I got this from this platform, and make sure that if you use it, you take the time to hide the information about the platform. So if you don't get it off of YouTube and you get it off of another social media platform or whatever, make sure that you hide the information of where it's from, because that's promoting another social media another platform.
so no more
So
Reddit posts, no more. Well, this sucks. Brenda, I would say start an account on where I am. Or I can't.
shh, shh. On the RU word.
Yeah, because like I'm quit. Fuck this.
Yeah,
I'll
we're up
never
a
be able to
river
make
without a
any
pole.
videos or anything. No, we won't be able to make any content, nothing. This is ridiculous. There's no way I'm gonna be able to follow every. No, I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
no
That's why I
way.
wanted to let you know, because you put that one link in there, and if it
Yeah.
gets tagged, you know, anything, you can't mention any other platforms. That's why I was trying to tell you. That's why when you guys went, "Oh, that can't be true." I'm like, "No, it's in YouTube's policy." I'm just
I only have
saying.
38, Brenda, because I just used it as a backup because of shit like
Apparently
this.
none. Yeah, because you can't have any of those links on in your description or anything, and that's where partnerships are listed, is in the descriptions. So I'm going to assume this is Teespring as well,
Oh,
and
frick.
any of the other merch creators. So yeah, I mean, you're screwed. We all are.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, none they did. They did. I mean, because how many people are just here? How many people just use YouTube? And then look at it this way too. How much content on YouTube is demonetized because of parts of it, such as if you have, if you're playing, if you want to play a video and you get a claim on it, whether it's the content or the music or whatever, if you get a creator's claim on it, then you're demonetized anyway.
Yeah.
And then, what happens? How much of that is available? So much of it is owned. So you're going to get strikes and claims all over the place. I'm thinking they want to get strikes all over the place and get rid of people so that they don't have as many people. I mean, that's just one of the consequences right there.
Like, I can't even comment at all. I keep getting told that I'm bullying and harassing for even just saying what I was just trying to say to Nini. This was a great video. I love your artwork. I love Walter, whatever. I'm not allowed to even say that. Nope. You're going against community guidelines, and you're bullying and harassing. And I keep getting this like every other day. So I can't even comment anymore. It doesn't matter what I say. I can say hi and they'll tell me that I'm bullying and harassing. And I keep asking YouTube, what the fuck is this? Why? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And they don't get it. They're not understanding what I'm saying because they don't talk to you. You have to keep emailing them, or you have to talk to a goddamn computer. Like, I'm
Right.
like, no, I cannot talk at all. Like, I can't message. I can't comment anywhere. I'm getting blocked
Yeah.
because they're saying I'm bullying and harassing, but they don't tell me what I'm doing wrong or show me what I'm doing wrong. And this is like an every other day thing. So this has happened like 10 times. And I'm on, it's like I can't talk for or comment on anything for 24 hours. So then for a full 24 hours, I get to talk again, and then they block me the next day. And then you know what I'm saying? So what is the
Yeah.
point? Like,
Yep.
is anybody else having this happen? I'm really not bullying or
The
harassing
if you
anybody. I'm just
use
talking.
a lot of language, you know what I'm talking about.
No, I never swear.
No, I'm talking about in your videos. They'll dock you on comments for your videos.
So if I say fuck,
So,
like right now, they can say I can't comment on other people's videos?
yep, they can
What?
take away anything they want. Nikki, it's YouTube. They make up the rules as they go along.
Well, then they're gonna lose a lot of money. Meaning people are gonna go elsewhere.
Yep.
This is some
But
bull crap. Maybe it is better if we just go over there then, Brenda. Because I
we've got
can't
to
keep
get
up with
together
these
and
rules.
talk about, because I've got my first story done. We need to get you going and get your first story done and get started on that podcast. I'm not mentioning
Yeah.
what platform it's on, mostly because we haven't discussed that yet. But
Yeah, we definitely need
no,
to. Sorry.
none. This is not good.
Yeah, like it doesn't even make sense. So, okay, so YouTube, you want to go broke then? Okay.
Well, see, that's the thing. Then I'm gonna assume it means everything, because how do you know exactly what they're talking about if they don't give you literal examples of what is allowed? They say what isn't allowed, but they don't give us samples of what is allowed. They need to say, so these links are still allowed and things like that, but they don't give you that. They just say, links.
It's like a blanket statement.
Yep.
And that's how they get away with it.
Yep.
I can help you work it, Brenda. Transfer all your videos from YouTube over.
Yeah.
And it works best on a computer. Oh my God.
Yeah, you can be banned for commenting if your message was flagged as spam.
Yeah, it does, Melanie. I absolutely agree. I think we should
Yep.
take the crew and go, the RU way.
I agree, Melanie. It does. I agree completely. Next thing you know, they're going to say we can't say anything disparaging about this platform.
You watch, yeah.
I mean, so Brenda, do you use your phone, or do you also use a laptop or a computer?
Yeah, you can't upload your videos from here over if you're on a phone. They don't have that function yet, but they do on a computer and laptop.
Use a computer? Okay, it's a lot faster that way. When you go over to that site, there's an option in your dashboard on that site to transfer over your content. I don't know, none. It doesn't say. It just says links for other sites. It doesn't say, only social media sites or whatever. It doesn't give you examples of what is allowed. It only tells you this isn't allowed. And then you have to go through 30 different links in order to supposedly find anything, and it still doesn't say. I mean, it still doesn't give you the information you really need.
Hmm.
Yeah, find products that are relevant to your audience and promote them through your content. Yep. But now it's saying links to other sites. So they need to clarify this. They
And that's the
aren't
thing, is what they say is they really don't. Like,
no.
if anything, this is a really crappy platform. It's
It
getting
is.
worse. It's absolutely horrible.
Yep.
I was
But they're
getting so
not
excited.
giving
I was
us
getting close to 3,000. Yeah, okay. I'll never make it now.
but this is the problem is that they don't give us examples of what we can't or of what we can do. They just list what you can't have, but they
Yeah.
don't give they don't give you examples of, they don't list what you can have. And
No, they don't. It's not like you can call anybody. Like, it's ridiculous. Like that.
definitions, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say what gets me pissed off is KJ sits there and says how she's got a manager on speed dial. No, you don't. No, you don't. I don't care how big your channel is. Everyone gets the same thing. You talk to a fucking robot. Like, there's
No. No.
so
If
stupid.
you have 100,000, once you reach 100,000, you have a manager. You have a
You've
YouTube
got to be
manager.
kidding me. They should
Yeah.
have people that we should be able to contact through a phone because I can't do this. Like they'll say, "Well, follow these directions or go to this link or go." No, I need to talk to somebody, and I can't get a hold of anybody because they just don't work like that apparently.
All right. So, you know, I'm still working my way through it. I just found it earlier today because I actually went
Yeah,
to my dashboard and looked at what was there. But I just found it earlier today and I wanted to let you know about it because I found it. And
thank you.
like I say, I'm still looking into it. I'm still trying to work my way through it and so forth. But this way know and anybody else that watches who's a creator, know to start looking through this because it's confusing. So just letting you know. But
Here's
yeah.
my name for that other thing.
Do what?
RB.
Oh,
Well, they were asking, just make sure that we know so we know where to find you if possible. This is the only thing I can say.
yeah.
That's me.
And not saying that you want to or anything, but mine is the same as on here. So
Okay, you're both are the same. Oh, I know you. Okay, so Brenda's is the same. All right. This is ridiculous. We have to speak in like, it's probably weren't telepathic.
yeah. So
Well, that put me in a very sour mood.
we can't mention any of that stuff. Not until we figure out exactly what we can mention. Because until we know that, I would suggest not doing anything because yep, you don't want to get demonetized and go, "Well, what the hell just happened?"
Yeah,
But so anyway, I just wanted to let you know and walk you through finding it because it
agreed.
it's definitely something that we want to be able to talk about. And I'm assuming that the D word that everyone belongs to and has rooms in.
I was just gonna say I can't even tell you to come in
Yeah.
there so we can all talk.
Nope.
I got I have a good saying.
That's bullcrap. It's a bunch of bullcrap. Because how are you supposed to encourage people on this platform if you're not allowed to mention other platforms where you promote this platform? So,
Oh, good, you found me?
you know,
Okay. This one I just mentioned, is a group. Um, kind of rhymes with extension cord. If you guys want to find me and pass around the world, I don't know what else to
if
say.
if you aren't in agreement with someone, then the two of you are in another word for disagreement that has to do with an extension cord. I mean, this is ridiculous, right?
This is ridiculous. Basically, what I'm talking about is the part of the word is cord.
Yeah.
And pass around the
It's
world cord.
it's insane. It is
This is
absolutely insane.
ridiculous.
Especially in like the true crime community and the DC, the drama community,
Yeah.
places like that, because where do we get our information? Where do we get our content? It's not
Any other
just from
outlet.
here. And they have limited so much what we can say as far as the words we can use. We can't say anything about unaliving or in any way, whether it's, the person has been unalived or whether they unalive somebody. We can't say the S word about unaliving. We can't,
We
I
could do,
mean, we
yeah.
can't see ABUSE. We can't say PORN. We can't say anything. And then they do this to us.
It is
So
ridiculous.
I guess they're trying to get rid of all of us who
That's what it
have
feels like.
anything to do with true crime, drama, any of that stuff.
That's what I'm thinking. Yep. That,
Um,
and from what I understand, I think she really did do something like, I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore.
so from what has been said and putting pieces together and so forth, it was not Michelle that got her banned. It was other things that she had a habit of doing that were not kosher. So I don't believe that it was. And she got banned before this took effect, RB. So I don't think this was what it was. I really don't. I don't think this was what it was, because she got banned before this all came around. This just started in October, so I don't think that's what it was. But yeah, it has really, really, really gotten crazy. So anyway,
Okay, this one's good. Hypothetically, I toasted on Mistord.
toasted on this story.
No, that's
I
good.
love that. I love that.
Me too.
Hypothetically,
Do you
too.
guys understand that? So the people that are in, you know, the Mistord or whatever, there's a there's a saying we have, it's called like empaths around the world. Huh. Let's check it out. Because that's where I am.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Hang on. Let me read this a little bit better. links that fit into any of the descriptions noted below. Please note this is not a complete list. See? Links to P, links to websites or ads that install malware. Well, of course. I mean, that's phishing, of course. Unauthorized access to audio content, audio-visual content, video games, software, streaming services that normally require payment. So you can't promote any gaming sites or anything like that that require payment, anything like that. Well, TOs, of course. CSA. Regulated goods. I got to look at what that is.
Yeah.
Violate our hate or harassment policies. Now, see, that's one that that's one that you just, the descriptions of those two things, hate and harassment policies, those are so ambiguous. You don't even know what they are. Encouraging others to commit VAs, links to content that spread medical information, misleading or deceptive content. Yeah, I gotta read through this some more. Like I say, I hadn't gotten this far until now. I gotta look further and so forth, but it is crazy. It is crazy, RB. So, like I say, until we work out exactly what it is and so forth, of course it's them, so you know. But like I say, I Googled it, and Googling it, the guy who gives all this information about YouTube policies and stuff, he was saying no other websites, no other platforms and stuff. So we gotta. Oh, none. That's my favorite thing to do is research. I just haven't had a chance to do this yet because I
know.
I didn't sleep last
Actually
night,
busy.
and then I slept today, and I'm not feeling well.
Yeah, you don't sound like you normally
CJ
do.
and I
Up the
did.
up.
Yeah, CJ and I did 19 tests today, and both of them were negative. So that's a bonus. But
Yeah, that's amazing.
still
I'm glad
sick.
to hear that.
Yeah. So yeah, but I am gonna look more into it tonight. I'm sorry, my
Okay.
arms itch, and I don't know why.
Are you using like different laundry detergent or anything?
No, but I need to talk to the doctor tomorrow about my about one of my meds. But
Yeah.
So anyway,
Make sure you
I'm
do.
gonna let you go. Sorry I kept you so
Yeah,
long.
I'm gonna get off here. No, it's okay. I need to know about this. I'm gonna go through it tomorrow, and I'm also gonna text back with whoever the fuck I'm gonna talk to today on YouTube.
And
I'd like
we're gonna talk about what we're doing because we need to get started on that.
Yeah, I want to get started ASAP now because I'm gonna ditch this rodeo.
Yeah. We need to because it's just gotten ridiculous. It has gotten so
Yeah.
ridiculous. So alrighty. I'll talk to you later. Love you.
Yep. Thank you for coming up, girl.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, you guys, I'm gonna get off of here. I had a video for tomorrow too, but I got 2 posts from another site, so I don't think I can show them. So stupid. Oh, it just pissed me off. So you can figure out the misstored MPS around the world. I'll see you there, or humble Nikki Jax. I'll see you there. I'll find you, country girl Brenda. We'll figure out something. Figure out a way to talk. You too, Melanie. All right, you guys have a great night. I think I'm gonna be back tomorrow. I don't know. I'm gonna be fighting with YouTube. That's what I think I'm gonna be doing because I'm not happy. All right, you guys have a great night. Hopefully, I'll be back tomorrow. Good night, guys.
I know you told your friend you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until